Audio Jungle.
Welcome. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. Hey, Jody, we weren't here last week, so you kind of going to get a week and a half review? I don't know. Hey, listen, so what we're going to do right now is click into our intro video. That way you can like, share, and comment. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. We'll be right back.
I must confess that that dream that I had that day has at many points turned into a nightmare. Now, the other thing that we've got to come to see now that many of us didn't see too well during the last 10 years, that is that racism
not guilty
is still alive in American society and much more widespread.
Broke his neck after Baltimore police.
A handful of protesters, a handful of criminals and thugs who...
Many in moments of anger, many in moments of deep bitterness, engage in riots. And as long as America postpones justice, we stand in the position of having these recurrences of violence and riots over and over again. Social justice and progress are the absolute guarantors of riot prevention.
Mr. Gray's death was a homicide.
The Negro was freed from the bondage of physical slavery.
The athletes marched onto a stage.
But at the same time, the nation refused to give him land to make that freedom meaningful. Freedom without land to cultivate. Freedom and famine at the same time.
And create jobs for our people.
The Negro is to be free. He must move down into the inner resources of his own soul and sign with a pen and ink of self-assertive manhood his own Emancipation Proclamation. But I want to get the language right tonight. I want to get the language so right that everybody here will cry out, yes, I'm black, I'm proud of it, I'm black and beautiful. Individually, we are poor when you compare us with white society in America. We are poor. Collectively, we are richer than all the nations in the world with the exception of 9. That's power right there if we know how to prove it. We begin the process of building a greater economic base and at the same time We are putting pressure where it really hurts. We don't have to argue with anybody. We just need to go around to these stores and to these massive industries in our country. Say, God sent us by here to say to you that you're not treating his children right. We come by here to ask you to make the first item on your agenda fair treatment where God's children are concerned. Now, if you're not prepared to do that, we do have an agenda that we must follow. And our agenda calls for withdrawing economic support from you. We mean business now, and we are determined to gain our rightful place in God's world.
All right, we are back from a week and a half hiatus or whatever that was. Hey, listen, Jody, this is the CSRN podcast, a weekend review, where we come to you live from Mott Branch Library. And as always, they roll out the red, black, and green carpet for us. Every week, we're here streaming live. Let's get into some intros, our mission statement, our guiding principles, and then we're going to come back with our guests. I'm Brother Washington Muhammad, one of the co-founders of CSRN and also an active and registered member of the Nation of Islam here in Toledo. And really, Jody, it was Jabril Bey and Mike Leonardi. Both of them are still active online. That came up with the idea of community solidarity, where you didn't have to be a pastor, preacher, professional, or politician to speak truth to power. Just have your facts in order, have a couple of comrades that's willing to stand with you while you're speaking your words, and man, we can get it going.
Yep.
And here we are 10 years later, going on 11. What am I wearing today? Today I have on my brown hat. I've got on kind of a maroon V-neck with a tiger's eye. I've got my beads. I got that from Jody because Jody wears his beads, but he's got a whole lot of stuff that I'm not wearing all of that, but hey, I got that. And as always, I'm dedicated to respecting, protecting, and defending all Black bodies, no matter the cost, no matter the gains or loss. This is the home of Black Lives Matter and Justice or Else. And we're doing this for the activist culture and the protest community. And if you go online, you'll see a lot happening. We're going to process some of that, and we've got an event happening next week, meaning that we won't be here, but we're going to be talking about some of those things, but that's coming up later. Jody, I think that I've done everything from introducing myself and what I'm wearing today. Could you introduce yourself, get into our mission statement, our guiding principles, and then we'll take a break and come back with our guests.
What's up, everybody? Jody J. Summers, child of the system, better known as Spoken Truth, the treasurer of this wonderful organization, and we thank you for
That's right.
always tuning in each and every single week, even if we do take some hiatuses and stuff, that you come back, you stay fully engaged, you speak in the comments, you subscribe to our YouTube, because again, as I want to forward this show, the meta version or social media version of live is pretty much about to be defunct. They're going to start deleting, and I want to repeat that as many times as I can, start deleting your live videos after 30 days. So if you have not backed them up, make sure you do. If you run a show, if you do anything that you want to keep history of, like we do with our show, you can always find us on YouTube. They're not deleting that yet.
Oh, you said yeah. All right. Okay. All right. I might as well get ready for that too.
Servers need room for AI, but I'm going to shut up. And, you know,
Yeah, that was cold.
For 11 years, I know way more than I should. I only get small percents to talk to people about things, but there's a lot going on in the world, so I'm going to try and condense it in this show. But again, we want to thank you for coming out. The reason why we describe ourselves is because we want you to know if we're on Spotify, if we're on YouTube, if we're on the social medias, we are the people you're talking to. You're not just talking to an AI or somebody that does not deal with the struggle like we do. So I am a big brown bear of a man that is covered in tattoos and crystals and stones and bones, and everything over this past decade that has built me up. So when I go out into the world, even if I am standing 10 toes strong by myself, I'm not. That's what these crystals are. That's what these images are. They're not generated because I feel some type of way. I made sacrifices to be there, and you're making a sacrifice to be here with us. So we thank you. What I'm wearing is a Duncan for Donations shirt, besides all my crystals and my hat. It's not hoodie season no more, so you actually get to see everything that's been under my hoodies I'll be talking about and stuff like that.
Hey, where did you get that shirt from, and why didn't I get one?
Duncan for Donations. We last year was the 16th year, I want to say.
Yeah.
And hopefully not the last, but you know, things get older and everything. We did it at the Wayman Palmer, which is now refurbished and moves closer to where Aeneas Park is or was. I'm not sure what they're going to do with the old building, but just some young men that came together and wanted to do something for the urban community kids that didn't get nothing for the holidays. So they decided to throw a charity game every single year, and it's been going on. Again, we'll see this year because, you know, we got lives, kids, I got a grandkid, and other stuff. So those responsibilities, hopefully, will be able to go on to the younger generation, which is becoming age gapped out of everything we're doing as far as stuff now. We create programming for young kids and for adults, but that group of teenagers who everybody is calling YNs and destructive, no, they were in your program 2-3 years ago.
Ooh,
and
that's
now
true.
they don't have nothing to do, but you still want them to come. They're still looking for, there's a lot. Talk about that on another show.
All right.
But how do you stay together after all this time with everything else in the world going on? Please pray for LA. I stand with you. It's wrong, and it's something that we've feared in the activist community that's kind of happening. Please don't let it become martial law. But if he has the power to do this, I'm kind of scared in that sense, and that is a behind the scenes moment. But how do you get to this point? How do you collect all of these entities and people and dreams and hopes and realities? You have a mission statement.
And we have our guiding principles,
which is like the walls and foundation. So when me and Brother Washington are gone, or your other board members are gone, they have something to stand on. They have something to believe in that can't just be washed away or bought away. So we are the Community Solidarity Response Network of Toledo, formed on November 25th, 2014, the day after it was announced that the killer, a Ferguson, Missouri police officer of Michael Brown, an unarmed teenager, would not be indicted. We bring awareness to the injustices experienced by Black men, women, and children who are disproportionately murdered, attacked, provoked, and harassed by law enforcement. Police brutality has to end. We bring awareness to the fact that most often, yes, most often, police brutality goes without consequence and accountability. Police impunity has to end. We utilize the tactics of protest, civil disobedience, event disruption, and the citizen advocacy to give voice, yes, voice to those who are otherwise voiceless. We facilitate progressive, community-based events that help foster self-development, and we discuss measures to hold local leadership accountable, yes, accountable to their sworn duty, be they politician, clergy, law enforcement, educators, etc., etc. We want justice, equal justice under the law. We want justice applied equally to all, yes, all, regardless of creed, class, or color. For all lives to matter, Black lives, yes, Black lives must matter. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr.
And you know,
got emotional there.
yeah, last week was, we could have processed May 30th. So we weren't able to process May 30th, the May Day, or I'll call it Tear Gas Saturday. It's been 5 years. That was May 30th, 2020. Man, I've got a lot of stuff that we're gonna talk about today, so I may have to put that on the back. We'll come back to that.
We got it live right now in LA. Never mind.
Okay, all right. Come on now. We only got an hour. We only have an hour to do this. Hey, these are our guiding principles. This is what keeps us from imploding. And when I say in the opening that we're doing this for the activist culture and protest community, or protest culture and activist community, there's a lot of strong personalities that make this up, and we have to have something in place that we can unify around, right? And these are our guiding principles: all Black lives matter, queer Black lives, trans Black lives, formerly and presently incarcerated Black lives, poor working class Black lives, differently abled Black lives, Black men and women lives, immigrant Black lives, Black elderly and children lives. All Black lives matter and are the creators of this space. We throw no one under the bus. We rise together. Ashe.
Ashe.
Thriving instead of surviving. Our vision is based on the world we want, not the one we're currently in. We seek to transform, not simply react. We want our people to thrive, not just exist, think beyond the possible. Ashe.
Ashe.
Experimentation and innovation must be built into our work. Embrace the best tools, practices, and tactics, and leave those behind that no longer serve us. Ashe.
Ashe.
Evaluation and assessment must be built into our culture. Critical reflection must be a part of all of our work. We learn from our mistakes and our victories. Ashe.
Ashe.
Principal struggle can exist in a positive environment. We must be honest with one another by embracing direct, loving communication. Ashe.
Ashe.
Love. Self-love is practiced in every element of all we do. Love and self-love must be a driver of our work and an indicator of our success. Without this principle and without healing, we will harm each other and undermine our movement. Ashe.
Ashe.
360-degree vision. We honor past struggles and wisdom from elders. The work we do today builds the foundations of movements of tomorrow. We consider our mark on future generations. Ashe.
Ashe.
Self-care means we build resilient spaces by budgeting time, energy, and resources for healing. Self-care is a regular, consistent, intentional, and essential practice. Ashe.
Ashe.
The most directly affected people are experts at their own lives and should be in leadership at the center of our movement and telling their stories directly. Ashe.
Ashe.
Training and leadership development should be fundamental. Our movement must constantly grow and leadership must constantly multiply. Ashe.
Ashe.
Jody, we're going to take a short break. I wanted to end, maybe next week we'll get into, or the week after, we'll get into our Black Lives Matter moments, because it's not often that we have people like us that can have an organization, a movement, and keep it consistent, on track, and still here.
Yep.
So here, let's take a short break. We'll be right back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review.
If you can ride a bike without falling, then you're good to go. Bike Rides Matter, it's a community bike group. We get together for fun, fitness, and fellowship. We ride weekly. Right now we got a Tuesday ride where we ride on the UT Trail. We do Saturday right here at Uptown Green. That's our glow roll Saturday night. It was something I was already doing with my daughter, just riding bikes, and we just decided it would be cool to add the community, because we were just finding ways to make fun given the situation. Being that everything was closed down and options were limited, bike riding is one of those things you can do without any restrictions.
You get to make new friends and just like interact with people, especially during COVID. You still like have your mask on and stuff, but it's still good to like see people.
It's a cool way to stay fit. We talk while we riding, we got music while we riding. I've met quite a few new friends and new people. I made some real cool connections throughout the city. Take advantage of the time you have. Take advantage of this pandemic. I know it's a lot of restrictions, but you can be creative and find new ways to have fun, one of which is this right here.
I am. I'm right on the other microphone. Where am I at here? Hey, we are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our week in review, and we're streaming live from Mott Branch Library. So log in, check us out, and if you're ever in the area and you want to look and check us out live, we're here. We're in our own glass studio. I think that's what we might call it, Jody. We set it up, we take it down. Hey, listen, every week that we have a special guest, and you're kind of family now, but we're still going to say guest. That way we'll keep him off the payroll. All right, Jody? We have a tradition of introducing yourself. What are you wearing, and what are we talking about today?
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. Roberto Torres. I am an independent candidate for mayor here in Toledo. And I'm wearing my very traditional cowboy boots, jeans, and a casual shirt. So I've been out there paving, hitting the pavement, and going out and doing the good work of the community. And so a little bit outside of the suit, coat, and tie.
Okay, all right. So I think we spoke to you a few weeks ago, and how have things been campaigning so far? You were in the news. We're going to talk about that. So how's campaigning been for you so far?
Sure. So we're post-primary, which means that the second cycle of an election happens. And so now we're into the festival season. So we're out there doing community events and festivals. And so meeting and greeting individuals. Mm-hmm. So that's the important part. And then the door-to-door as well. So we're very pleased by the visibility that we're getting. We're getting some visibility through signage. And we're doing a number of podcasts, and I appreciate.
Yeah, that's all right.
I really think that that's really where people get more information nowadays is through social media, and so it's very important to engage folks on platforms like this.
Yeah, and I think it's important because whenever you participate in anyone's podcast, you get a chance to talk freely about your platform, about your agenda, and what you want to do, rather than having someone say, well, you can't talk about that, say it this way. So, and also we take it upon ourselves to create those spaces that we can get our messages out.
Yeah, and with traditional media, at times what happens is they probably have a certain structure that they go by, and they have certain themes and maybe projects and ideas that they want to cover. So at times it may be slanted, and you don't get that with podcasts. With podcasts, it's very, very open. Tell us what you think. What are your thoughts? And so, folks can make up their mind based on the information that they're receiving, and not necessarily something that's already been pre-fed.
Right. And also, anyone can see Jody or myself at a festival, at an event. So, we're not bound to whatever the procedures and policies of who employs us, because nobody employs us. This is something that we love to do. We were able to elevate our activism to do things like this, where we could talk about more than what's not happening right in society, but we still want to talk about that. So this gives us a space to talk about it freely.
Certainly.
So I want to go ahead and bring it up right after we spoke. I think maybe a week after we spoke to you, we're looking at the news. There's something going on the south side of Toledo. I think CSRN was involved in how they wanted to zone that community, that space over there, and there's a lot of opposition. And you brought it up in City Hall. And how did that go for you?
So first of all, let's go back to how we first learned of it. It's important for individuals to be engaged in government. So in other words, with the dawn of social media, you can actually on the internet be able to receive city council meetings, plan commission
right.
meetings. And so it was at a plan commission meeting. I follow the plan commission because the plan commission is kind of like the rules and regulation for what goes into communities and neighborhoods, what development projects go in.
Right.
So the plan commission is where the rubber meets the road when it comes to a project. And it's there where you find out who are the players and who is being impacted. It then goes over to a recommendation, then goes to the council committee, and that council committee on planning will make then the recommendations to city council. So, so if you follow that along, at times you may find controversy with the development project, and you have to go to the very beginning to find out really how did it get to where it's at. So that's how I got involved with Rocky Ridge. It was a project that I did some research to find out that this development project that was going in on Angola and Bern was actually a project that had already been rejected in 2 other communities. And what was interesting to me is that those communities were rather rural. And so it wasn't as if they were happening inside a neighborhood or residential area. Right. They were happening out in a rural community, out in farmlands, and people opposed that development there, and it got rejected. Comes to Toledo, and all of a sudden there's support for the project, and I try to understand what was it that really motivated a council member to say I endorse that project when it really works against the residents of that community. Right. So as I started to borrowing from your page, right, it's like you need to get citizens involved.
That's right.
And so I went to go talk to the residents in that community, only to find out that many of them had been given maybe 25% of the story about the project, and it was always the favorable part. Yeah. So they were never told about what the consequences of dumping spent lime, which comes from our water treatment plant, not just Toledo, but it was also coming from Oregon. So here you've got spent lime that's going to be dumped, literally dumped into the backyards of many of the residents in the area. It just so happens that the residents in the area, so some of them is it's low income housing. Right. Some of that residential are folks that aren't actually engaged civically. Right. And so it was very convenient for a developer to go in there and do that because no one was going to say anything. And so I thought with the support of the local residents and some business owners there, we were able to shed light on the issue, on the matter. And even though it had gone through city council, the council hearing, and it had been presented to council, I thought there was still an opportunity. It's never too late.
I understand that. I agree.
To share information.
I agree.
Now, perhaps the platform that I was entering was not appropriate, going into a council setting where they don't allow information. But I got to tell you, I being somebody who's in civic engagement, I don't understand why you wouldn't want to have a presentation by somebody in the community, and regardless of what level it is, even when it goes to vote.
True.
And so,
but if you want to railroad it through, then suppress the community's voice.
Sure.
That's how that's how I understand a lot of that thinking. Sure.
And the presentation from certain members of council was that there were only a few individuals that were really concerned about the impact, the environmental impact of this project. Well, we went out, we collected 303 signatures in a 4-day period that said we don't want this project in our backyard. And so that was the petitions and the signatures that I was presenting to council. They declined to hear me based on their rules, and I was escorted out of city council. At that point, we decided we're going to present these and take it up to clerk of council, and we left the petitions there for them, and the rest is history. The news media picked up on it, and they're interviewing residents in the community, and they're seeing this as a much bigger issue than it was originally presented.
And I love doing things that way because sometimes that's the only way that we're going to get some traction. I know how to do things by the rules, but there comes a time that we have to bring awareness to something.
Yes, and sometimes some people call it theatrics, but you have to somehow bring that attention through other means. Yeah. And so last Thursday, members of the community got together to say, we want to show another way. We want to demonstrate in another way that this project is not supported in our community. So one of the local residents designed a campaign. And so we will shortly, this week, we will receive yard signs that say, don't dump on South Toledo.
Okay, that's awesome.
And it'll be on the yards of the residents in the community. So folks will begin to see that cropping up in different in the neighborhoods there in South Toledo. And they're just borrowing a page from the residents over in Ottawa County who said, not in my backyard.
That's right.
That was their slogan. So
That's
the slogan here in South Toledo is going to be, don't dump on South Toledo.
Right. And rightly so. And I think that's where freedom of speech really comes in, and it's so valuable. People would always ask us, why do you guys have the signs? Because we have freedom to express ourselves. Well, why would you have those words? Well, because those words get attention. Imagine if we opted out of saying, well, we don't want a sign that says don't dump on South Toledo, because that word dump is just so strong. It also rhymes with something else, but it's so strong. Well, can you imagine what type of sign I would have to delicately express everything that everybody wants to say? There's got to be a few words. The words got to get your attention. Once it gets your attention, now we could talk about what it means.
Yep.
All right.
I was at, a lot of times these signage are a fact of reality, right? They're actually sharing what's happening.
That's right.
We were just at that site earlier today, and you could count 4 or 5 trucks every 2 minutes coming out of that place. So when you talk about don't dump, there's been dump trucks that literally are going in numerous times to the point now where they're starting to spill oil and it's going into the street. So now you've got on Byrne Avenue, you have that hazard of oil being spilled out on the street. And so a project of this magnitude does not belong in a residential community. It belongs in an industrial community. This is zoned light industrial residential, and it should not be rezoned at the request of this development to be general industrial.
All right. So, okay. So here's my take on it. All right. For you running for mayor, don't you think this would get you in hot water with a lot of the business community? Because I'm sure they're trying to make a buck. You're getting in a way. Don't you think that you would lose votes?
Well, so when you look at a decision like that, and that's really the test of leadership.
Yeah.
The test of leadership is at what cost? At what cost are you willing to really set back a neighborhood 10 years? At what cost? 25 jobs? 30 jobs? 40 jobs? And what kind of jobs are they? And who's going to get those jobs? Now, you and I both know that when we talk about job creation in the city, the first question we ask is what's the inclusion number? Is it going to be reflective of our of the makeup, the composition of our city? Or is it going to be just certain individuals that are going to get those jobs, especially when they're high-paid salaries, right? So we have to look at, okay, what jobs are being created and to whose benefit? Is it going to be people that don't even live in the city of Toledo? See, and those are some tough questions. But as a leader, leader, you have to understand you got elected to lead residents here in the city, and if all you're doing is benefiting a non-city residents, then you have to really think about that. And that's one of the things that I looked at here is you've got individuals that purchase homes unknowingly of this project. And now their home, the value of their home is being impacted. So you're saying you want more people to buy homes, but yet you're supporting regulations like this. You're supporting development projects like this. You talk about disparity.
Yeah.
So a similar project, not necessarily dumping, but a project that was opposed in Richfield Township was a data center that was going to go over there. And they had a meeting. They had over 300 people attend their meeting. The trustees of that community, when they saw that number of people there, they said, no, we're not going to do it. We heard them. We're not going to do it. Well, here in Toledo, you've got 303 individuals that said, not in my backyard, not here, don't dump in South Toledo. And we have members of council that are actually questioning, what should we do? So it really has an impact, and
Yeah.
it's all about leadership.
All right. Let's go to your I want to put up your website because anytime I see someone running for a position and they're out in the community and they're doing things that I think that might make them unpopular, those types of things, they don't happen often. Most times when people run for an office, you try to kiss babies, you try to not to offend anyone, and you try to please everyone, all right? Which is impossible to do, but people are doing it right now. All right, so it's the website is,
It's TorresForToledo.com.
all right, TorresForToledo.com. It's right there. It has something about yourself, where you grew up, where you been, all right? But you're back now, all right?
Right.
You're back now. I'm clicking on the platform. It says our agenda for Toledo Renaissance: support, grow, spend responsibly. And something has to change. And I don't know if we're going to continue doing the same thing. And then year after year or cycle after cycle, we're wondering, why is it going in the same direction? We're getting less. It appears that downtown is spreading and people have to move. The well-heeled people infringe on the rights of those who have not, and it's not changing.
Yeah, when you look at Toledo, the bigger picture is what's going to be sustainable for our community. And one of the big questions is the income disparity between minority and non-minorities. And some of that has to do with factors like policies that exist that prevent local residents from getting opportunities for contracts, opportunity for business. So what you end up having is a population that is not satisfied with the community, so they leave. And so in the last 8 years, we've lost 10,000 Toledoans. And you can continue in the same policy, but you keep losing population. And when you lose population, you're going to lose, obviously, resources that come in from the federal government to help support the local community. When that happens, you have less funding for infrastructure. So you're going to have cave-ins, you're going to have spillage, you're going to have, some of the sewer crises that we're having. When you don't spend responsibly and you're going out there and you're just trying to make everyone happy, right? Make people happy. When you're trying to do that and not really doing the work of a mayor, which is to take care of your city, take care of your residents, and make sure that you have strong infrastructure, make sure that you have sustainable neighborhoods. And when we have increasing slum and blight, so the article just came out, fire department said there are over 200 structures that are hazardous in the city of Toledo. That means that their firefighters are not allowed to go in there because there's hazards in those structures. Why are those structures still around? Why do we continue to have slum and blight that exists when it should come down? That's all about leadership and decision making. If you don't have strong neighborhoods, you're not going to have a strong city.
All right. Next question. I'm trying to. Okay, it says Robert Torres, independent for mayor. All right. So, why the independent lane? Why not Republican? Why not Democrat? What was it that made you decide that you were going to be independent?
So you've got a Democratic mayor. You got a Democrat mayor. You have 11 Democrats on city council.
Okay, all right.
And you have one independent, right? Yet anytime the mayor wants to push a program through, he gets it 12-0. I have yet to hear a member of city council actually challenge the mayor on any decision that is controversial. And so if you're going to say, why don't we continue the status quo, then I'll run as Democrat. But if you're saying that we need to have change,
I get it.
then it takes a person that's independent to run for change.
All right, so
And by the way, there's independent members who are running for city council, so I'm supporting them as well. Blair Johnson is one of the candidates that I've been supporting, and Blair and I meet on many different levels on issues in the community. And so we have to elect like-minded individuals, absent of party affiliation. Party affiliation helps to serve a certain population. If it's not serving your population, then you need to rethink about that.
Yeah, but doesn't it seem like an uphill battle? It's 11 of them, one of you, all right?
Absolutely. But here's what I told. I was asked that question, and I was asked, well, what's your relationship with the current council members that sit on city council?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And I said, the way that I look at it is the relationship that counts is the mayor's relationship to the citizens, not the mayor's relationships to a city council member. Because right now what we have is we have council members that that coalesce with the mayor, and so you don't get improvements that is necessary in the city. And so when a mayor comes out and says we don't have a revenue problem, and yet you're out here raiding the capital improvement budget, and you're out here saying we're going to need to raise taxes for fire and police, you do have a revenue problem. And yet nobody on council, even the financial-minded members of council, nobody stands up to say, you're wrong, Mr. Mayor. We should balance the budget, but not by taking from Peter to pay Paul. And that's what we're doing. And that's why when you see these infrastructure crises that happen, folks are saying, how is that going to get repaired? When you continue to go into that CIP to draw those resources for other issues.
All right. If you were mayor, what would your relationship with city council? What would that look like? Would you be open for some healthy discussions that might appear as disagreements? What would your relationship with council be?
Well, so that's part of government. I mean, our democracy is based on the different levels of government. So you have the executive, judicial, then you have legislative.
Right.
And so city council is the legislative. City council can actually, the city council actually has the power to be able to say to the mayor, okay, mayor, you want to plant trees? The city council says, we're only going to allow you to have 100,000 to plant trees, not 2 million, not 3 million. Right. So council has the ability to be able to do that. So the mayor has to have the ability to be able to have that conversation across the table, and have that conversation with all parties, not just necessarily a member of my own party, but members from across all party lines. And that really what government's about. Is at the end of the day, you have to be very pleased with the way that your administration is taking care of the needs of its residents and the community. And it's not about is there a certain business entity that's been served today by my decision making.
Wow, that's the hard part, because it appears that from my view that those relationships are ironclad, and it seems like some of those relationships are more important than the citizens. And what happens, when you meet that thing that makes us think that is the mayor working for us or is he working for whatever Inc. What happens when Roberto Torres hits that fork in the road?
So I've been told from the very beginning, I've been told that Wade has a certain number of funds in his war chest. And when I see that, I look at, okay, who's he beholden to? Like who has filled that coffer and needs to be served by that, by that donation?
Yeah.
Or that support. Yeah, I proudly say that my campaign is a campaign of the people because I don't have like a union boss. I don't have a corporate a CEO.
Right.
I don't have a party chair. I don't have any of those that are actually at my table,
right,
saying, here's what you need to do. My opponent does. My opponent does. Every day, he's got somebody from somebody from those interest groups that's telling him, here's how you need to support it. Here's how you need to vote. And it's the reason why you don't hear any commentary from the mayor. You know, the blade continues to, and the media continue to ask, we met with Mr. Torres. This is what Mr. Torres says. Do you have a comment? No comment.
No comment.
No comment. And the whole issue is, why would he have to comment? Because he's got the purses on his side, right? He doesn't have to do that. So my role is going to be to connect with the residents, because at the end of the day, Brother Washington, is like no corporate CEO that lives in Perrysburg or Maumee or Sylvania, no union boss that lives in Oregon, Perrysburg, Rossford, none of them are going to be able to vote for mayor, right? None of them are going to be able to vote for mayor. It's the individuals. So our role is to energize the individuals of our community to vote in their better interests, in their best interests. If we can do that, and that's why, I go right back to the very beginning. That's why I said the podcast and social media is so important, because that's the one media where we're not going to get banned from saying certain things.
That's correct.
We're not going to get banned to say it. You can make a difference. It's up to you when you need to get out there. And so that's what our campaign is all about. And to that extent, we're meeting the individuals, and we'd like more individuals to come to our team. So they can come to TorresForToledo.com, go into the website, and they can actually volunteer.
Yeah, I'm clicking on it right now where it says there's the home, about Roberto, the platform, in the news, and volunteer. If you go and volunteer, click in your name. Oh, I almost clicked my name in. Oh, man. Okay, all right. Hey, even put my address there. Thanks, Internet. Right, you put your name, your address, put your phone number, your availability. If you want to do some door knocking, phone bank, lawn sign distribution, event participation. Wow, this is an awesome website.
We've got the listed there. So if I believe that there's an opportunity for any individual that wants to get involved in a campaign for change to be involved. The other thing I'll let you know is that we're having some fundraisers as well, because you need to have funds in order to run your campaign. And so our upcoming fundraiser is going to be at the Peacock. So we've got an event at the Peacock, and it's going to be, if you look at the
calendar.
Look at the calendar and look at June next week.
Okay,
the 25th. You see that there?
Okay, all right.
June 25th.
Look on that.
So we'll be out there at the Peacock, and we've got some notables that are supporting us on that. So Henry Triplett from Henry the Jewelers is going to be one of our hosts, and Sean Mahomes is also going to be hosting that event. And so we're excited to be going back to the Peacock. We've supported, that's where Blair had his fundraiser.
Okay.
We're out there for his fundraiser. We're out there with Michael Ashford when he had his event. Michael Ashford had his fundraiser. And so we're no strangers there. In fact, when we were over at Michael's place, we even decided there for Michael's event, we even decided to put in some Latino music there in the jukebox just to kind of like give it a little Latin flair.
Okay, that's awesome. Also for Jody, Jody's off camera, but it says includes food. So I'm just letting you know. All right, you should have just led with that.
Yeah,
all right, you should have just led with that. So for the people that are watching now, go to TorresForToledo.com. Click on the homepage, the things that are in the news. I don't think we have you tossed out yet on here. We may not put that on it.
I was at the party in the park, the first party in the park, and this was the week that happened. And folks were coming up to me and they're like, "So what did you get kicked out of council for?" And so that brought me more attention. And folks were coming up, and then when I told them the reason, they're like, "You're doing the right thing. Just continue to do that. You're doing the right thing." And so sometimes you have to do those type of things to bring the subject matter to the surface. The other thing I wanted to mention is we'll be at the Juneteenth celebration. So we'll be in the parade. So we're very much engaged with the community and welcome for folks to actually come up to us. If you see us out there, come up to us and say hello and get engaged.
Okay.
We'd welcome that.
All right, awesome. All right, before we go, what's the next step for Rocky Ridge, and what would you like the people that are watching this, listening to this, to take away from that?
So I would like them to continue to contact City Council. Right now, the ball is in their court. They have to decide, are they going to vote on it? If they vote on it, we believe it goes down. So we need them to vote on it. Otherwise, they're going to send it to committee. But we would like individuals to call to say, we don't support dumping in the backyards of our city, especially in a residential community where folks really need leadership. They need representation. And so we're asking them to call City Council at their 245-1050 number. Contact them, tell them to vote no on Rocky Ridge. The second thing is we're going to be coming out with those yard signs.
Okay.
Don't dump on South Toledo. And frankly, folks over there near Delaware Creek can actually, have that sign out there too because of what's being dumped out there in their creek.
Okay.
And folks on Arlington the same way. So I think this is going to be something that that will transcend beyond just Rocky Ridge and really include all communities that feel like city government has not been listening to them and city government has not given them the attention that they need.
And we could always use another yard sign in here. Like, Jody, we cannot have enough yard signs in here. That's awesome. All right. Last question, or next to last. What are you doing for self-care now with all this going on? How are you bringing it back in to stay balanced, to get out there another day? What do you do?
So two things. One is I continue to stay physically active. So I continue to run and work out. So I continue to do that as much as I can because this is now a different whole schedule. It's a different schedule when you're running a campaign. And then the other is to attend to the company of my beautiful girlfriend Renee Clark, who is also my campaign manager. And so at times she's the one that helps to balance me out and to say, "Hey, time out. We've had a long week, and we need to take a break." And so that helps to balance as well. So
does he listen? Okay, he does not listen. Okay, all right, all right. So I said next to the last.
Mm-hmm.
Has there been a mayoral debate planned yet?
So I've been disappointed with the mayor, with Wade. We had an opportunity to actually participate in a town hall meeting 3 weeks ago, and immediately I accepted and said, let's do it. And then 1 week before the event, the mayor's team contacted the host of that town hall meeting and declared a conflict in their schedule.
Scheduling conflict. All right.
So I look forward to it. I did run into Darlene, who's the Newbern, who's the president of the NAACP, and she tells me that they're going to have an event coming up in the next few weeks. Yes. And so as soon as I get information on that, the invite, I'll send it over to you. So you can come out there, and I'll be prepared.
And good for Darlene.
Yes,
good for Darlene.
Yeah.
Good for Darlene. All right, somebody would. If they don't, then Jody, we'd have to. I mean, we've done it before. Mayoral forum. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. All right. Glad I'm just finding that out. Jody's off camera telling me stuff that's scheduled that I have no idea about, but all right, it's all good.
Your format would actually be excellent for a debate because your questions really have some very profound impact, and so I would appreciate that versus something that's just surface.
Right. And I think that it has a lot to do with who you're beholden to, that determine the questions and the quality of the questions that are being asked. We we engage our community every day, and we want to know what they want to know.
Right.
And since we're not going to be sponsored by anything that will prohibit us asking you this question or asking Wade that question, it's all fair game.
Right.
And it's intelligent and respectful at the same time, and I think has been with a lot of help from Jody and others. We've perfected that balance there,
right,
where we can engage the elected officials. We can also have direct action, but then we can talk to you the very next day.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
It's the thing. I think that we've been successful in doing that, and I don't see us moving away, from that model. It's been successful for us. All right. Would you mind coming back? All right. Maybe in a few weeks to let us know, how things are going.
Yeah. We actually plan on moving forward. So, our platform is quite daunting. The issues that we want to address, and none of those issues are non-controversial. Every one of those has the potential to alienate some portion of folks that participate within that process. But it comes down to leadership and being able to address those tough issues.
That's right.
And so the next time around, I'm most certain that we will have already launched into another issue that impacts on our community even greater than what the issue that we're currently addressing.
That's awesome.
So you'll be one of the first, and I'm sure you're going to be wanting to have that conversation.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's great that you said that, because a lot of the things that we want to talk about, they're not controversial. All right. They're not. These are just everyday conversations that we have with each other about community safety. Where are we going to work? Who is this coming into our community? Why should we be dumping there? Those aren't controversial. Those are things as a homeowner, as a taxpaying citizen that I would want to ask,
Exactly. No,
and I would expect some answers. I would expect some answers. All right. Hey, listen, we're going to take a short break. We got to come back with Jody, because we're going to have our sup dates. We don't call them updates. It's sup dates, like what's up. All right. He did that. So he came up with that. This is the Community Solidarity Response Network. Mr. Torres, thank you. Thank you so much for gracing our podcast studio. This is the CSRN Weekend Review. We'll be right back.
It's the Panama Canal.
En esta hermosísima ciudad de Orlando.
I'm here in Barranquilla, Colombia, and in sunny Miami. Daytona Beach, mis amigos, that's where we're at today.
Desde la ciudad de Cartagena, Colombia.
We are in Orlando right now, here in Florida.
I'm Helene Sheets, Director of Marketing and Communications at beautiful Lourdes University, and we've been a proud sponsor and supporter of Voces Latinas TV for over a decade. It has been a fantastic partnership. It's been our doorway into the Latino community. We've met so many incredible people, created so many partnerships. Our students absolutely love the connections we've made through Voces Latinas TV, and we're looking forward to at least another decade, 2 decades.
Pathway Incorporated Brothers United program believes that children are important. Every day we support and advocate for fathers because when children have involved fathers, the whole community thrives. The fathers that come into the Brothers United program are mostly young fathers who are primarily gang members or drug dealers or those involved in lots of trauma from the time when they were youth until now. The program has fatherhood classes which teach you about your role as a father, the importance of being a father, healthy relationships, how to co-parent and work better together with your co-parent, and then economic stability, how to get a job, how to keep a job. It is so important for fathers to learn to take care of their children holistically, not just emotionally, not just physically, but financially as well, because children need a holistic approach.
I really just needed help with really being a better father and looking for a job to be able to support my kids.
Some of the problems I was facing when I joined Brothers United was communication with my children. Had some time apart from each other for a while, so they gave me the tools to really get back in communication with them.
Fathers will come into our program with their heads down. 2 weeks later, their heads are up. 3 weeks later, they're laughing and talking. 4 weeks later, they're building a bond. And by the time we get to 8 weeks, they're saying, hey, we want to stay here. What can we do to stay connected?
It gave me a better perspective on how to look at things from other people's point of view. You know, sometimes us as men, we get caught up in being prideful and arrogant, thinking we don't need the help. We do. And we just have to put our pride, selfishness, and arrogance to the side. And when the help is there, take it.
Hope plays the most important role in everything that we do because we have to have hope. We have to remember that fathers are important, and we have to not only say it, but we have to live it, we have to breathe it, we have to do it, we have to convey it to everyone.
Let's get a BU Nation on 3, fellas. 1, 2, 3, BU Nation!
The dads give us hope. The dads supply for us on the days when it gets hard. On the days when we've seen more violence than we ever want to see. On the days when we've lost some dads to jail or to murder, they give us hope. And so the hope that lives can change, if you invest in them, if you believe in them, then lives can change.
Brothers United changed my life, let's say, because of where I come from, what I've been through. I learned to understand it is help out there. Don't be scared to ask for it. If you don't reach, you can't grab. That's it.
They made me more employable, more desirable by employers, which in turn helped me provide for my family and provide for my children and my grandchild. So it makes me a better man, a better father, and a better example.
It showed me like how to be better to my kids, so I went and got custody of my son. My son been with me for a couple months now. So they showed me how to be a better parent all around, just a better man, period.
Initially, I didn't know that it could change men's lives. I didn't know that fathers could change. But it's amazing to me when fathers come back a year later, 2 years later, and tell us thank you. Or they'll make a Facebook post and say, look at what I'm doing now. It's amazing to me about the level of work that we've been able to do and the lives that we've changed in just a short period of time. And the fathers who come back and say, thank you, I needed you, and you were there.
And shout out to Brothers United, man. Be you.
All right, let's bring this the microphone back down. We are back. This is the CSRN podcast, our weekend review. Big shout out to Roberto Torres, independent for mayor, that came in, and we're talking about what's going on at Rocky Ridge. If you don't know what Rocky Ridge is, we're talking about Bern Airport, or Angola Airport, where they want to start dumping in that area, but it's so close to a residential area. A lot of the residents felt that, well, this is not something that we want. And some members of the city council and the planning community planning committee, they're saying, no, this is what's going to happen. Go
I
ahead.
have a question.
Yeah.
So, because when I'm doing my producer things, I'm doing a whole bunch of other stuff. Isn't that the one that we went out there?
Yeah, we were already there.
Yeah, and
we were
got
already
front
there.
Page of the Blade and was telling them no.
We were already
so
there.
Doing it again.
So it was when we were engaged in that, it was semi successful. However, not 100%. You know, we stopped it from happening then. So they regrouped. So now we're going to regroup. And right now, if you call City Hall and say that you don't want them dumping in South Toledo. You don't want them dumping in South Toledo. I need to get into a few things. And if you can, log on to our Facebook page. We're going to have some more information on that you can get some yard signs and show your support for the citizens and the residents of South Toledo, and particularly the airport, Angola area. We'll talk about the Rocky Ridge program business incident. That may not be the right words, but you know what I'm talking about. All right, what are we doing next week, Jody? We're not going to be here.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be at the main library. That's 325 North Michigan. If you want to know the room, just go in. We're going to be talking about Ask about the U.S. immigration. Ask us about the U.S. immigration system. And it's like, what do you mean, ask us? Well, sometimes we ask the wrong people about immigration. We ask the wrong people about what's happening with the immigrant community, what's happening in Los Angeles, how did that come to be? And we end up asking the wrong person, the person that knows the least or just knows the company line. And here's what we want to know. Here's what we're going to do. If you're interested in learning more about the U.S. immigration system, have your questions answered by area experts and receive a comprehensive overview of the U.S. immigration system, from a look at the pathways to a green card and U.S. citizenship, and how the immigration court and detention and deportation systems work, if they work at all. That's not in the reading. I added that part.
Ad-libs are awesome.
Yeah. To understand the common legal challenges faced by immigrants and leave with an overall understanding of the immigration system. I'm going to be there. CSRN is going to be there. And also on the screen, you see some of the primary sponsors, which is the Multi-Faith Council of Northwest Ohio, the library, and a host of others that have come together to ask these hard questions that people really want to know right now. Welcome, TLC, and you are welcome. All of these organizations have come together and put together something so that people can come out and ask some hard questions about what's happening. And also regarding the Multi-Faith Council, this is also going to be a part of the Woody Troutman Lecture Series. If you don't know who Woody Troutman is, he was one of those who really put together the Multi-Faith Council here in the city of Toledo. I started being involved in the multi-faith community maybe back in the early to mid 90s. And this is a group of individuals, despite our differences in our religious practices, we come together each month to chart programming and chart events that can show unity among those who practice religious faiths. And this year is a bit different, Jody, because the Multi-Faith Council, I think we elected our first pagan to our executive board. So you have a lot of expressions of faith. So come out and ask us about the U.S. immigration system, and hopefully I may be manning either the CSRN table or the multi-faith table with someone of a different religious expression, and that's always good to see how we can show up.
And I'll be there as your happy neighborhood Buddhist.
All right, awesome. And also, what else is going on? Let me put this flyer up here. This is happening tonight. What time is it? Oh man, this is happening in 15 minutes. This is the live radiothon. This is the Nation of Islam's Final Call Radio. If you're familiar with the Final Call newspaper, this is an international newspaper that we print once a week, and it covers national, international, and also local issues too. A few years ago, CSRN, we had our Black Lives Matter Award, which was covered in the Final Call twice, all right? And what we want everyone to do is to log in to media.noi.org and watch this radiothon fundraiser. And what is it for? We're living in a day where media is being controlled by just three groups. Control how you think, what you're going to hear, and how to process it. And what Final Call Radio does, we produce our own news, our own media, and we need your support. Being able to have this radio program in over 140 countries now, it comes at as a cost. So I'm going to log on to this right after when we log out. I'm going to donate, and anybody that's watching this, log on to any to media.noi.org, or let me find the if you want to donate. Give me 1 second. I don't have this logged into my system, but it's all good.
It's okay. Sometimes you have to log off again. Happy Men's Mental Health Month to everybody. I know it's like every month there's a whole bunch of new things, but it's also Pride and like 3 other months. A lot of organizations now are just, let's make awareness for the things that's been going on, but, it's a lot for normal people just to pick one thing. So my thing is Happy Men's Mental Health. It's one of the things I stand behind. I've been writing about for the last decade. Make sure you pick up my new book, Childhood Trauma Series Volume 2, A Decade of Recovery Through Art. You can get it on Amazon. You can find it on my page, or if you live locally, you can contact me. I'm doing a little bit of shameless plugging and stuff like that and everything for while we get the link for you so you can make sure you can donate to the live radiothon fundraiser.
Yeah.
Celebrating 5 years of the Final Call Radio, which basically is like a podcast.
It is. This is where you can go listen to the stories of the Final Call newspaper. You also hear some of the lectures of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. You hear some lectures of some of the other well-known ministers who are ministers in the Nation of Islam. And also, one of the things about the Final Call newspaper is you will never see a corporate America ad in our newspaper. So what you should do, I wish my fingers were fast enough to type this out, but I'm going to do it. Let's see. Yeah. Let me see if I can do this, Jody.
Yep. So again, while we get this up on the screen and everything, prayers out to LA, prayers out to anybody really getting or fighting for injustice. It's becoming big and prevalent. I know it's summer right now. Summer is officially here, warm weather and all the stuff. And this isn't really going to calm down. So if you're a protester out there, if you're an organizer out there, make sure you keep your numbers on you. Make sure you keep your eyes and the people that's all around you. We've had a lot of practice. We're not just talking about, oh, we feel bad. We've been there. We've been tear gassed and kicked out of buildings and all the stuff like that. So our experience is us trying to lead it to the younger generation who stand with you. I'm happy that you can be out there at the moment. If I have not picked up all these responsibilities, I will be right out there with you, rock in hand. You can check out some of my artwork with everything on it like that.
That's right. That's right. Just taking a picture for a couple of brothers that were wondering, man, what's
awesome.
Yeah. So it's radio.finalcall.com/donate. That's where you can log in, support the Final Call, support the finalcallradio.com. And also, if you get a chance, you could even get the Final Call newspaper digital at digital.finalcall.com. Man, I'm always saying lastly, but also wanted to talk about, Jody has said, prayers for everyone that's in Los Angeles right now and having to deal with the National Guard, the Marines coming to your city to disrupt, break up families. And these are just some images that we pulled down earlier. This is so reminiscent of 2020, 2019. And this is happening in real time right now. This is happening in real time.
Everything that's still going on in Gaza and stuff like that. It's the world becomes big and small the more you do. And
yeah,
I'm glad that the youth are still engaged. There was a moment maybe last year I was thinking that everybody was overwhelmed and they didn't care because, protest is where you can find the actual true voice of people who are tired of being stepped on.
Absolutely. Final Call Radio, the Radiothon that's happening tonight is 6:30 Central Standard Time, which is an hour later for us. So that's 7:30. Log on, check it out. This is how we move our agenda forward. The same way Jody and many others came up with this podcast that we're on. It comes with a cost, but it's up to us to go out in the community, find like-minded people to help support us to be able to produce a podcast that we could even have the Final Call newspaper on there, that we can have, and on the same day, have Roberto Torres in the studio.
Yep.
That's something that you can't do if you're not free to do it. So log on to the Radiothon. Let me put it up there one more time. That's media.noi.org. That's just do it. All right, not just do it, but do it. All right, and don't forget about ask us about the U.S. immigration system.
All right, righty. So since we have been gone for about a week and a half, I'm going to try and micro machine these like 45 events that's gone on since the last time and the upcoming events because Juneteenth is going to start off from what I'm seeing this weekend versus next weekend. Since next week it's actually on a Thursday and everybody's doing all their stuff early, which is what this new generation does a lot more. But last 2 Wednesdays ago, May 28th, there was the Film Toledo 2025 Spring Mixer, which I was at Wildside downtown. It was awesome. Shout out to everybody at Toledo Film. And there was actually a commercial today for our Carpets by Otto and stuff that, people, when you get into the market of meeting people and being in films and stuff, we are still waiting on our movie from the casino to come out, Eeny Meeny, but they were doing reshoots and stuff like that. So that'll be out eventually. I can't wait to see that. And then we'll be throwing a party. From what I hear, that there is more talks than just it being on a streaming service, that they're actually trying to get it into theaters now. So maybe you'll see me at the red carpet coming with my premiere and everything like that. There was the artist support group. Shout out to Joe Sparks for starting that. One day I'm actually going to be able to make a meeting and not be so busy enjoying all my other creatives over there. But it's a lot of work trying to maintain all the stuff. There was Zack Attack at the Park as the kickoff, I believe, for the free concert series. That was the park with triplets and everything like that. Conversation reading at Ernest Brew Works on Friday, May 30th. We had the first annual celebration of Sacred Still. Shout out to Dale Grace. Unfortunately, I missed that Toledo has spoken because they shifted the time since they were doing the 1 year anniversary, but I will be there this month at the end of the month for Toledo Has Spoken, which is normally around 3 to 6. This year it was 1 to 4, or last month it was 1 to 4. So that was a little confusion if you did show up and you was like, where's the open mic?
Where's the open mic?
That's where the open mic was. There was the June Her Hub social meeting at 909 Jefferson. That was Thursday, June 5th. And as we are moving forward in time, Getting to Know You, Town Hall by Blair Johnson. That was 325 North Michigan. That was Thursday, June 5th. We had the Bebop's record, and I'll just kind of lump everything in together because I saw some statistics. If you did not know, it's another reason to be proud of Toledo. The Old West End, and this year was the 52nd Old West End Festival, is the largest organized festival in the United States.
Wow, that's
beating
dope.
out Mardi Gras. All of that stuff that you hear about, and it's again right here in Toledo. So if you need another reason to be proud of Toledo, that's another reason to be proud of Toledo. Shout out to everybody that did attend. Shout out to everybody that was in the parade. Shout out to all the vendors, all the artists. From what the last number I saw, there was like 30 or 35 porch individual concerts that were free. You didn't have to go to charge or anything. Some of them happened in the backyard.
Right.
So shout out to everybody that was there, Bebop Records and Bumble Puppy at Old West End Festival, and all of the people that walked and stuff. There was a community health day at 2030 Putnam for
Yeah, that was Bible Way Church.
Bible Way Church.
That's my old church.
So,
all right.
Shout out to them. Shout out to all the people doing everything.
That's right.
The Toledo Sticker Exchange 3 was at the Old West End Festival. Also, shout out to everybody that came up to my table as I keep talking about it. And I'll probably be talking about it for the next 4 to 6 months. Childhood Trauma Series Volume 2 is out, a decade of recovery through art.
Yeah.
Shout out to the first people, actually, and I guess I'll say it on it, Kristen, that does Black Kite and stuff.
Yeah.
Thank you for being the very first person to pick up a copy.
Oh, okay, Christian.
Ari Renee was the second person to pick up an actual physical copy. Now, you can get them online. I would say do that because it takes me about 3 to 4 weeks for me to get individual copies, but for you, the audience, the customers, it takes about a week to 10 days at most. And yes, there's a whole bunch of transparency. I might, hopefully this year, if I find some time, do a helping class on how to publish your own book since I am 25. Shout out to another person that informed me on my email that a submission that I thought I got rejected for actually kind of got lost. And so, yes, I will be in a new textbook for children in Cincinnati. 3 of my poems for healing and the Black experience and all that stuff. If I could remember her name, but I'll give her a shout out later on.
All right.
A lot of stuff going on, but that'll be book number 25 at the end of this month. And I'll start promoting it once I get all the information on that. If you are wanting to be part of any of the festivities, I'll be posting them on my page. A lot of them are on the CSRN page. So if you go to the CSRN page, check that out. Last update from last week was the Brown Bosses Presents Business, the evangelistic network at Kent Branch Library. That is actually going on today, the 10th? Yes, that is going on today. There's a few things. Blair is doing another town hall today. So now we're going to jump into the upcoming things. If, again, you see what's going on in the world with books, with education, unfortunately, healthcare, as well as my executive meeting. We had a long discussion and talk about that. It may not be on the horizon, but we will be pushing that come towards midterms because the people that are can be booted and stuff. are responsible for that, and I think that's the big beautiful bill, or whatever the Orange Man is doing. But and books bingo tomorrow, Toledo, Ohio, Mommy Bay Brewing Company. I am one of your bingo shop callers, so shout out to everybody that may be able to show up. I'll be there. The event starts at 7 o'clock. Also tomorrow, after I leave there, I'll be going over to the Code, which is on Star on the east side. I am the feature there, so doing Men's Mental Health Month poetry and all of that good stuff. Shout out to Ty or Sunkist Ra or a whole bunch of other names. If you know her, she's been on the show many times. We're starting back up the poetry on the patio since we got nice weather and everything.
All right.
So 827 Star, if you want the open mic portion, come. It's just $5. And let your words be your truth. Also this Saturday, so because I do get called for a lot of things, if you want to be at the flag raising, Toledo, Ohio is doing a Juneteenth flag raising. I got a call or email or something like that, and I will be the speaker or the performer. So 10 a.m. Friday, One Government Center. We're going to be doing it inside because of all of the construction that's outside.
Yeah.
I'll be speaking there. So that is 10 a.m. downtown, One Government Center, Toledo, Ohio, for the flag raising for Juneteenth. After that, there is an event called No Kings about Trump and all the other stuff. So if you want to be part of the protest demonstration community like that,
All right.
I know.
All right. I'm good. Yeah. Okay.
They
All
need
right.
some speakers with some truth to power.
Okay. All right. I changed my mind. Just like that.
That is also going to be Friday from 1 to 3.
Let's go.
No, that is Saturday. See, my schedule and my head is already getting to me. Saturday, that is 1 to 3, No Kings protest. But before that, there is the Juneteenth parade. Shout out to everybody that's organized with that. That is 9 a.m. is the lineup. 10 a.m. is the walk. That is Saturday. We're lining up basically at Hinsville. So Monroe and Summit, if you know where that's at, that's pretty much Hinsville. I don't know why they didn't call it that, but that's Hinsville.
Yeah.
A little outdoor arena and stuff like that. So if you're a part, he's got it on the screen. See, I'm looking at my phone. He's got it on the screen.
That's all good.
But I'll be walking with Blair Johnson. I chose this year because most people see me in every single parade.
That's
I'm
right.
going to diversify a little bit. So at the OSN Festival, I was walking with the Dems. This one, I'll be walking with Blair. When you see me at the African American Festival, which is June 19th, shout out to everybody at the Toledo Urban Federal Credit Union. I'll be walking with Tarda, which is another one of my boards. I wear too many hats at this point in time, but that's okay. So I'll see you there during the parade. Then after the parade, we have the No Kings protest demonstration, everything like that. So since we won't be here next week, we're trying to throw out as much stuff as I can. There's also this Saturday at 9 o'clock, shout out to Brothers and Sisters United. That's Avis.
That's right. Sister Avis Files.
Yep. They are having their fatherhood walk. 3016 Collingwood. So I'm not sure the lineups and the times, but I'm sure if you go to Brothers and Sisters United, you can find all the information for that. And that is this Saturday, also at 10 o'clock. There it is, this Saturday at
all right.
1 o'clock and Uncloistered. So my third thing is Saturday is Uncloistered Poetry Live. If you like poetry, again, you want to get an open mic, sing, music, stuff like that. No dancing because it's going to be at the Attic. Shout out to Joni McKintry, our poet laureate of Lucas County until, I think that's coming up too. So, and then there's a lot of stuff on Saturday.
Yeah.
Juneteenth rooftop celebration, 325 North Michigan. That is the library celebration. I know there's a whole bunch of things going on actual Juneteenth. Shout out to the Juneteenth people. They're doing at the Glass City Park again.
That's right.
This is 5.5. We got some different sponsors, shuffled up some things. So hopefully see you out there. I'll just be walking through. My vendor days are just about done. You could book me for stuff, but I'm not doing the whole bring a circus out my house and stuff like that anymore. So that is going to be everything that is upcoming. Again, check my page, check maybe Brother Washington's, but definitely check CSRN's page. I'll put as much stuff to keep you outside, active, and engaged in your community as one man possibly can.
All right. Is that it?
That's it before 5 minutes of heat.
All right. Hey, we're going to get into some 5 minutes of heat, but we want you to go to our YouTube page, type in Community Solidarity Response Network Toledo. You just probably get halfway through that and you'll see the whole name. Let it drop down. Subscribe, click the notification. We're looking to get at least 100,000 subscribers. That way we get one of those plaques that come in the mail. All right, that lets us know that we got a lot of people that like us.
Yep.
If you want to support us via Cash App. That's the hashtag CSRN Toledo 419, or at PayPal is CSRN 419. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, listen to us on Spotify, subscribe to our YouTube, and I guess it's going to be up to me to start posting on X, formerly known as Twitter, unless Jody changes his mind, all right? We do have some of our Black Lives Matter yard signs, and we have our Defund Toledo Police Department, defund12.org/Toledo. Be one of the first on your block to have this beautiful, beautiful yard sign. We have one at Eden Garden where you can come join us every Sunday, 4 p.m., 300 block of Boston Place. We had our opening on May 18th. Had an awesome time, but we meet every week. Come and join us. Growing your own food is like printing your own money. All right? All right, Jody. I think that's all. It is 7:35. In 5 minutes of heat is how we close things out. We don't close them out by saying meeting is adjourned or banging a gavel. We use creative expression, and we come up with that phrase, 5 minutes of heat, from the hip hop classic 5 Minutes of Funk by Houdini. And Jody has been our resident 5 minutes of heat participant for the last 10 years. I think since we come up with 5 minutes of heat. Jody, what do you have for us for today?
So today, this is going to be, as I said, if you go to the pinned video on my page, everything that you hear just about is going to be from my new book.
All right.
Which will be out in a couple of years. It's Childhood Trauma Series Volume 3. So those are the pieces that I'm working on currently. I still have Tears of the Wounded to tie off with a nice bow, and then start releasing the, I guess, the poetry series.
Okay.
Which is the 30 Days of Writing, which is like 5 years of me writing during April. But this one is dedicated to a friend of mine, and hopefully you're watching, Dash, or Ashley, better way. And it's going to be in that book. She's also in my last book, so make sure you pick up Childhood Trauma Series Volume 2. I'm going to learn that very soon. A Decade of Recovery Through Art, but it's called Grateful. So, and I think a lot of people should be grateful for even waking up the next day.
That's right.
A lot of stuff. I know a lot's going on in the world, but I am more grateful to be active and involved and engaged than to not be.
All right.
So, Dash, Ashley, this one's for you. Let's begin. Peace. Grateful. I am grateful to be alive. Happy that all the things sent to destroy me failed miserably. Overjoyed to have my health, physically, mentally, and not be on any medications to live. I am grateful to be alive. Glad that every misstep, mistake, bad decision, and stumble did not lead me into losing faith in myself for longer than I've been alive. I am elated to know so many people in my community for the right reasons, and when my name is spoke in rooms, it brings villages together. I am grateful to be alive, passionate about seeing the next sunrise, sunset, starfall, and moments of life in between each breath. I am thankful for all of those that see me now, even if they did not know my story, struggle, or triumph or what I did or what I do for a living. Your presence is a meaningful part of my life, even if it's just a bush in the background. I am grateful to be alive. I cherish every morsel of peace, tranquility, rest, quiet moment with nature I get outside the chaoticness of just being human, trying to make a life out of a badly written set of instructions that come with no warranty, expire the moment you look away, will try and convince you the world dreams better than you, and will label you weird, unwanted, hard to program, and inconsequential until you make its rules for success that change every day. I am grateful to be alive, to pour life into everyone around me that might have forgotten how brightly they shine or need a reminder of the miracle, yes, miracle they are. I am grateful that I chose life, even though many times through the process of living, I did not know how I was going to survive. I am happier I chose privacy over the rat race that is exposure for nothing more than a drama-filled life. In peace.
And as always, we snap our fingers. Great job, Jody. Look, we've got a busy week ahead of us.
Yeah, we do. I got 12 events.
All right, and I'm starting to feel like Jody with all the stuff that's happening. And Jody, you know, hey, listen, we're not going to be here next week. We will be at let me make sure I get the right name and address. We're not going to be streaming live from CSRN. We're going to be at the main branch library, 325 North Michigan. And this is happening at 5 p.m. That's June 17th. Ask us about the U.S. immigration system. I think it's, it couldn't have come at a better time. And as always, all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter. And Black lives can't matter until all Black lives matter. Justice or else?
Yeah.